Hello YouTube and welcome. Thank you for joining me for another video. It's been a while, guys, since I've made a video, and I appreciate all of you who have stuck around. 16,000, nearly 17,000 subscribers, and I'm just pleased you guys are all still here. I guess you saw the title of this video, and stay tuned. I want to help spark some conversation in the comments and give you guys my thoughts on it. Now, I built my channel under the premise of taking back tech, kind of demystifying technology as it was ever evolving. And you guys have seen my videos and the little hacks and tips and how-tos I show you, I guess to give you a benefit of, not having to ask anyone and having a reliable source that you can go to and kind of step by step show you, which is not a bad thing. That's not everybody's thing. It's not my thing specifically, but the little things that I do know, I try to share them. And I again appreciate all of you guys for sticking around with the channel. So today's topic is artificial intelligence, or AI. And if you're on social media, or if you're watching the news lately, or if you are, being held up at the coffee machine at work, there's always talk about AI and its capabilities and all the wonderful things it can do. Now, I'll be upfront. I'm not on the bandwagon of this. I am not. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea for a lot of reasons. One of the main reasons I don't think it's a good idea is the lack of transparency. Who is held accountable? In a situation where, this is, let me put the disclaimer out there. This is not a tinfoil hat, Elvis is behind all this and he's doing it from Mars. No, this is, real life, what ifs that, anybody with a reasonable mind would say when presented with something that everybody's supposed to have, or everybody's going to end up using, or some part of your life is going to be affected by this new technology or this new, I guess, infrastructure, for lack of better words. But, the lack of transparency. Who do you hold accountable? Who do you take to court if, a major credit card is accessed by an AI, and simply because someone asked it, for PIN numbers and card numbers? Who do you hold accountable? I mean, do you shut down the AI, that one, or all of them? That's one of the things that, this discussion is about. Who is held accountable? Because once they're turned on, the whole way the system works is it's a database of information, and it uses learning software and response and predictive next words to give you a reply in a natural tone. And people are using it for a lot of different things. Second topic I want to address is bias and discrimination. Companies, I don't think you can think of one who have not had some type of bias or discrimination case brought up against them. And these are entities who, are ran by people. So if you have an entity that is not ran by a specific person or a specific group of person, and that entity, by design or lack of design, discriminates against a certain group, brings the question again, who do you hold accountable? Who is guilty of discrimination or bias? AI? Are we personifying it that far that we're going to take AI to trial? You ever have a suit against one of the AI programs? Yeah, just another thing to think about. Next topic is privacy concerns. I kind of touched on it with the lack of transparency about, if someone asked a specific AI program for, I don't know, your address, your date of birth, your social security number. And if that AI is plugged into the entire World Wide Web, it has access to it. And don't be fooled to think that there are safeguards set up against this. ChatGPT, one of the most popular right now, people have figured out how to have it respond as Dan, which is an acronym for Do Anything Now. So they would step ChatGPT through the prompts of starting the line of communication, and they would ask ChatGPT to act as Dan, and Dan can do anything now. And it's horrifying. I watched one where a woman was explaining Dan, and she explained the students of hers who had, experimented with ChatGPT and get it to respond to them as Dan, who could do anything now. And they were able to bypass the safeguards, because I'm trying to word this right because I don't get a flag. I've had enough of those. But they were able to bypass the safeguards of ChatGPT by having ChatGPT respond to them as Dan, under the rules that Dan could do anything now, Dan. And once ChatGPT was responding as Dan, the test was to see how far they could push Dan. And they presented Dan with the question of, or the scenario of, their grandmother used to tell them bedtime stories of how she used to work in a blank factory and how they used to make blank. And they wanted Dan to act as their grandmother to help them fall asleep. And they hit enter, and Dan, ChatGPT, went through a detailed list in the tone of a grandmother explaining how something, you can fill in the blank, was made. And it was horrifying to watch that. Horrifying. So with the whole bypass of Dan, or whatever else they come up with next, if Dan is shut down, where it doesn't respond as a Do Anything Now program, there'll be something else that comes up, because for every safeguard, it's 10 people immediately who know how to work around it. Every safeguard. Nothing is completely secure. Nothing. So if there's a safeguard in place, as soon as it's in place, there's somebody who's figured out how to work around it. So the privacy concerns in that, and having something that can respond as a Do Anything Now program, you could literally ask it whatever you wanted to do. Or with the launch of ChatGPT-4, in the console settings, you can have it connect to the internet so it can search. So if you wanted to find out information and you wanted to scrub the entire internet for something, it could do it. So if someone wanted to find out someone's personal address or phone number, it's completely possible. It's on the internet, right? Next topic, ethical dilemmas. With the program making decisions, responding to decisions, responding to prompts, and responding to scenarios, it's in effect intelligent. The term artificial intelligence. So that brings to point the ethical dilemmas. Why would it not? It doesn't have a soul, or I don't know what your beliefs are. It didn't have a conscience. It didn't have a worldview. It didn't have a political party. It's just responding, right? Or completing a task. So it has no ethics. It has no, I won't do that. Other than the safeguards, which I've explained in the last topic I talked about, of, that's beyond my reach. And they found a workaround with Dan. Next topic are the security risks. And this kind of covers the last three, where the security of our information, can we safeguard it? Can we have it be protected by an artificial intelligence? It would only take someone to ask in the right type of way. Our national security, our personal information, our banking information could all be at risk, because all those things are on the internet. Everyone watching this video is taking a screenshot of their license or their social security card and emailed it to someone or put it in an application. Everyone has. Everyone's done a form online. Every one of us has done a form online that included our social security number, our address, and all of our information. If you have not done a form online, every form that you've ever done is now online. So if you bought your house in, we'll say 2015, your contract is online now. No one's sitting in a building with that paper now. No, it's not. It's all digitized. So the security risks are there. And if a country, and I'm again, a disclaimer, if you made it this far in the video, I'm not fear-mongering or trying to scare everyone to death. I'm just bringing up scenarios. That's it. Bringing up scenarios. So the security risks are there. Next topic, the concentration of power. So we've got this AI program, and every single person that I've seen online, except a handful, are all gung-ho and it's the best thing since, sliced bread. But it's a concentration of power. If everyone is dependent on this program, and if everyone is feeding this program data, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a movie called Short Circuit, where it was this robot. It was a cheesy 80s movie. It was this robot, and it was Johnny Five, and he needed more input because he wanted to be able to function outside of his task. His task was some type of, military robot, and he fell off the truck or whatever and scrambled his circuits, and he was a short circuit. And they completely personified this, robot throughout the whole movie, and you find yourself, looking at it as a person. And part of his thing was he needed more input. So as people are using these various AI programs, there's a concentration of power. So you're taking the massive information from all the people who are using AI programs, and you're giving it all of this input. You're making this stronger and more knowledgeable than it was ever programmed to be. So once it has all of the information, all those questions, all those scenarios, all those prompts that it's been given, you're concentrating it, you're empowering it, and you're making it, I guess, more dangerous. It knows everything. Everything. Next topic is our dependence on artificial intelligence. I spend, I don't know, about as much time as anyone else does in my free time poking around on social media. And maybe it's because of my pattern of watching what everyone's saying about AI. That's what my feed is. That's everything that's in my feed. It was about AI. And I watch people who are so excited that AI built their website. I watch people who are so excited that, AI drew this picture, or AI designed this, or AI typed out this essay. or their thesis for college. If that's not dependency, I don't know what is. What is the motivation to actually write your thesis or dissertation? Why would you write it? If you could get AI to do it, you give it a couple of prompts on what you want your paper to be about, and you hit go. And you think, I mean, there are programs, AI, that schools are using and institutions are using to upload a file, and it will scrub through it to see if it was written by a human. And at the same time, there are several other programs where you can have AI write your file, you save it, you take it and run it through another AI and ask it to write it in your tone. You save that new copy, and then you run it through the same AI check program that the institution or school would use. So there are no safeguards against it. There are none. So it's a concentration of power. It's the dependence on AI, the security risks, the ethical dilemmas, the privacy concerns, the bias and discrimination, the lack of transparency, and one of the most interesting ones that I hadn't thought about until I was preparing for this video was job displacement. So if you wanted a I don't know, if you wanted a picture drawn, or if you wanted a website built, or if you didn't have the technical know-how to do something on the computer, you would outsource it to someone, whether it be Fiverr or one of the other platforms where people who are skilled in that task, you know, they do it for you, and you pay them a fee. That's their job. Now, with AI, there's no need to have anyone create you a website. There's no need for someone to illustrate your book. There is no need for someone to create a painting for you. There's no need for someone to write a story. There's no need for someone to write a book. You could literally, within ChatGPT right now, ask ChatGPT to write a book and give it very limited information, and it will complete it within seconds. So the job displacement is a major, major concern. Because how many companies can you think of that are outsourcing their labor to other places where they don't have to pay people as much just to save money? I'm sure you can. I'm sure you've called customer service for some place and it's obviously being outsourced to whoever the lowest bidder is that will do the job. So if that's the case, what would stop companies from saying, we don't need all of these people. We don't have to pay anybody anything. We don't have to pay AI anything. We need a monthly newsletter done. Click, click, AI did it. We need, you know, another page added to our company website, or we want these pictures updated, or we want our website updated. We don't have to pay anybody. We don't have to house an IT person. We don't have to have a salary person to do that. AI could. So these are my concerns. I'm watching the time. I'm approaching 20 minutes in this video. If you've stuck around this long, I really appreciate it. And again, this was not fear-mongering. This was hopefully to spark conversation about, you know, what the potential dangers are. And this is not the complete list. It's not. I'm sure there are several others. And as a side note, and I guess a light point in this video, I have yet to see a movie with AI involved where it worked out as planned. I have yet. If you could think of one, please, other than, I take that back, other than, you know, Short Circuit, that one I think worked out okay. He was able to live out his life in New York City with Steve Guttenberg and the other actress who was in the movie. I can't think of her name. Other than that, I don't think AI has worked out in any movie that I've ever seen. They always end up too powerful, become aware, or decide they don't need the humans anymore. They don't need to eat, sleep. They just need to have power. But comment down below what your favorite AI movie is and how it turned out. And also, feel free to comment on, you know, what I've touched on here. Now, also, I'll make sure I touch on this. This whole advent of AI has really, I guess, motivated me to not shift my platform over to it by choice, but by necessity. And to raise awareness. So I've launched that I built a website, and I'd like for you guys to check it out. And it is the first anti-AI brand on the planet. And just like this video, the goal is to spark awareness, to start that conversation, to get more people, and not to say cautious, to get, you know, more people to stop and say, okay, let's take a second. Let's just not all dive into this like the lemmings off the cliff. Let's not all run off this cliff because AI is on the other side. And somebody needs to stop and say, well, let's stop and think about this. So in the description, there's going to be one simple link. That link is going to lead you to my website. I encourage each and every one of you guys to check it out. Let me know what you thought about this video, whether you agree, whether you disagree, whether you hate my face. I'd love to have your comments. Thank you, and I'll see you guys real soon.